All right, Nobody Named Kevin podcast, episode 31. Is anyone in the room named Kevin?
No. But is it Treinta Uno?
Oh, God. You're just now learning Spanish? Oh, God, dude.
I couldn't remember if it was Treinta or Veinte.
No, 20 is 20.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
That was a real gamble for me, guys.
Is it?
Yeah. I think it's like
I thought those were.
30 is, I'm pretty sure that's 30, and 20 is 20.
No, that's like the biggest Starbucks size you can get, and then Venti's like the tall. Like Venti's the large. Trenta is the one above.
That's the gallon jug.
Dude, some
It's
drinks they won't
almost
even
that.
give you that. They
Dude.
won't give you the
Coffee,
Treinta.
you can't get coffee in it. Yeah,
It
because
bug-
it's not allowed.
It bugs me so much that Starbucks, like, you can't just say small, medium, large. They have to correct you. Like, they feel the incessant need to correct you. It's like, dude, I don't care what it's called. You know what I want. The message got across. Like, I don't need a lesson on this. This is not something I care to learn.
This is in case you return in the future. It's part of their brand. It makes you feel
it
like you're
is
part of this
it.
like elite circle because you say these different synonyms for small, medium, and large.
Dude, I just don't
Well,
care.
also,
It's
like-
like, bro, it's just a waste of space of my mind.
Not really. It's just part becomes reflex because like I've worked there and it is that like something about the reflex when a customer is like, all right, a large, coffee. I'll be like, all right, cool. Large, I'll be like Venti Pike Place for Jeff or whatever. Because you have to say it right because you work there.
Yeah,
You know
no,
what I
see,
mean? You
I
can't
get
be
that,
like-
but I feel like every time I've ever said it any other way, in the few times I've ever been in Starbucks alone, like, dude, I legitimately won't order Starbucks for myself. I won't do it. I like Starbucks, but I can't do it, dude. It psychs me out. So, like, I
They
have
have
to...
a menu.
Dude, nope, I have to bring in someone who understands the system, who's done it multiple times. So I'll just bring them in, and I'm like, yeah, man. Just give me whatever you're getting. Yeah, and then I'd be fine. I trust
You
your
and my
judgment.
dad. Why are so many people scared of Starbucks? Like my dad is the same way, like scared to order. Like, go ahead, give me something. Like why is everybody scared of it?
It's not
just
that I'm
a fucking
scared. It's
coffee
just like,
place.
dude, I don't care enough to learn it. Because the other thing is, too,
No,
you
it's
know,
not
the
that.
scale on
You're
coffee...
like, I have to bring in a safety buddy.
Yeah, that's anytime I go, which is very rare. They're like, you want to go to Starbucks? I'm like, fuck it, sure, it's good, but I won't go there on my own. And it's mainly because, like, coffee is, like, very easy to screw up. Like, you can make coffee taste really bad. So, like, for me, it's like, all right, I need someone who's on the in and already run through all the experiments and stuff like that. And just be like, hey, bro, what should I get? It was like back in the day when you got really good at Subway sandwiches because that's all you ate for, like, 2 years. And it was like, hey, bro, I want a good sandwich for Subway.
Yeah,
and I had to text
connoisseur.
you, hey, man, give me a suggestion. You throw it at me, and I'm like, all right, cool. I want this.
It's the thing with coffee though. I feel like I don't know with the sub sandwich is that you just get what do you think sounds good on bread? That's what it is. You know what I mean? And like coffee is like I don't know. It's not like they're sitting there typing out a formula and then you're like, all right, two of this, and they're just like, idiot. And then it's like the machine like shakes and shits out this horrible coffee. Like there's so many pre-made
No,
drinks.
it's
Like
not.
a white mocha, a mocha.
It's
a
not
caramel
that.
latte,
It's that
like-
not drinking enough coffee. You don't know what you like, and I feel like I'm too invested in the price.
Dude, I'm upset because they don't have the Irish cream cold brew. I'm hoping that comes back in the fall or the winter. I've been trying to order
think
that.
that was-
We don't have the. Got
I
the
thought that was like
nitrous
a
cold brew.
summer. I don't know. They gotta have you gotta have seasonal products though at your place because it keeps it fresh and it keeps it coming back. Because if pumpkin spice is around all year, I wouldn't get it.
That's
Mhm.
true.
You know what I mean?
Limited
Now here's a
time.
little known fact. So they do the peppermint mocha every holiday. You can actually get that all year round. They market it as seasonal, but they literally always keep a peppermint syrup stock. So you can get literally I would do peppermint mochas in the middle of the summer, iced. It's like a crazy, but yeah, like it's that one. That one was like man behind the curtain moment when I worked at Starbucks. She's like, yeah, let them you can actually get this all year round. I'm like, oh shit, like I'm gonna go in there now.
Dude, have you guys heard of like the virtual restaurants? Have y'all heard of that? So like I saw this like this little quick thing on Vice, and it was like they were talking about how like through Uber, DoorDash, Grubhub, and all that shit, like the list of restaurants they show available next to like the regular ones we're used to. Sometimes they'll show like for example, one I've delivered is called Cosmic Wings, and it's a restaurant you can order through these apps, but I pick up the order at Applebee's. Or like Mr. Beast Burger,
Dude.
you order through the app, but I pick up the order at like Chili's. Like these other restaurants make them. And this documentary, they're interviewing this guy that owns like a faux shop or whatever, but he runs like 10 virtual restaurants out of his shop. He was like, I have all these different brands, and like they order, and he showed like his rack of like all these different flavorings and sauces and stuff. And it's just like 10 different branded Asian style restaurants, but people see that logo and stuff, and like he's like, it's great, like it's a crazy business. I'm like, that's a really,
dude,
I don't know.
It's so funny how you can just repackage, or like you can make a restaurant out of 2 food items, you know what I mean, or whatever. Like, so Wingstop has that. It's called Thigh Stop.
Okay.
The logo's insanely the same. Instead of literally, they just place the word wing with thigh, same branding and everything, but you can order it on DoorDash. And anytime I was like, where does this exist? It's not in the town I live in. But no, you can't just drive to it. You just order it through there. It comes from Wingstop.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Very weird.
I don't understand why it works so well. That's what I don't get. Like the Mr. Beast Burger and stuff like that. Like I get that sells off its names. But like I've seen the Cosmic Wing one. And I'm like, dude,
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know where this is. I'm like, I don't want to order it because I don't know. Like, and I'm just like, I just don't understand how that business model works and why people will pick it.
And they probably pay a premium price, even though it's coming from like Applebee's or Chili's, you know. But they think they're like, oh, this is some, you know, more unique.
This is an underground play.
Yeah, it's just a different flavor and sauce.
Well, that's the thing. A Mr. Beast Burger, it would sell. I get that if it's actually a building that's in his color scheme.
Oh yeah,
you're just getting a Chili's burger. Like what the fuck? You're just getting a Chili's burger.
Yeah,
Are you crazy? So you're paying for the wrapping around it, and like I think what it is, part of it is that there's like a uniqueness to it. But do you remember back in the day? You know, like back in the day, like we're so old. But there was a huge thing about secret menus. This is a different form of the secret menu. It's like this is a secret restaurant. You know what I mean? Like it
kind of feel like you're in on something.
Well, I feel like
it only exists on the internet.
I also feel like it's similar to like how McDonald's does their little marketing campaign of like, this is the BTS meal, and it's like, it's nothing different. It's just, hey, we let them build a combo on our menu.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, like Sweetie has a combo, the Travis Scott burger. When people were going to the drive-thru with that, can I get a Jack, what would you like to drink with that?
But those are like promoted by celebrities, so I get that more. Like, but the random Cosmic Wings.
I don't get the Cosmic Wings thing.
Or like, there's a lot of them.
It has to be the fact that like, I would assume the way that people get into that is they're just like, let's try something new. Oh, Cosmic Wings. I've never heard about that. Yeah, I could go for wings. And then they order it. They get it one time. And like, wow, that's really good. So they just think it's different, but the wings are just really good.
That's weird. Dude, it's almost like the idea of like, you know, you get like an expensive alcohol bottle that's empty and fill it up with cheap alcohol. It's almost the same idea. Like it's like a placebo or something. People are like, oh, this is different. This is better.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, you can just repackage certain things. It's almost like they're drop shipping their own restaurant.
Yes, that's kind of what it is, dude.
Weird.
To me, it's weird that it's working. That's what I don't get. Like, in theory, you look at that business model and you're like, that's stupid. Like, how would that wouldn't work? Like, so you just take Chili's food and then you just say that it's your food and you call it like something dumb. And it's like, dude, that's a horrible business model. That would never work. Where's the profit?
It works somehow, and I don't get how it works for people that do it through chains. I get like Mr. Beast, but I don't get these small ones like Cosmic Wings. But like the Asian guy, he made sense. It was like his individual restaurant, and he just opened like 10 different branded ones and ran them out of the same building.
Yeah,
and like that makes sense to me, but I don't know.
But yeah, you like the Mr. Beast one only works because he's a celebrity.
And I get that. I don't get how you run one out of like Chili's is a major chain or Applebee's is a major chain. I don't know how I would go up and be like, hey guys, I thought of this cool name and I made a logo for it. Y'all want to start selling stuff?
Like what are they bringing to the table? That's what I don't understand is like, how does someone like that bring that to the table? Or is it just like is Cosmic Wings a sub company of like Applebee's or something, and they just bought it and they're the ones doing it? Because that would make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, there's that, and there also has to be like, there has to be a lot of business sense of like, all right, I'm gonna run a wing place out of your same location. Here's the deal: you're gonna use only these 3 sauces. We're gonna mark them way up, and you're gonna get this percent. It's going to make you more money because I'm going to bring you more traffic. And they're like, okay, sure. Like, dude, just try it for a month. It'll work. It's something like some pitch like that, but a lot longer and over probably like 10 different meetings. But yeah, like that's how, why?
But it benefits both parties.
But that's people. So but it benefits both parties in the business side, but like it's the people, you know, it is crazy. You know what I mean? Like
marketing, I guess.
How,
advertising, I don't know,
dude. I don't get it. Like it just,
you know, it's like, and the other thing,
it's just like
the restaurant owner.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Go ahead. It's about to take us to another talk.
Oh, go for it, bro.
Yeah,
it's just like the iPhones, bro.
Thank you. Yeah, I was holding off on it.
Yeah.
Dude, here's the fun, and you know what's fucking hilarious? I was laughing about today in the car. I was like, we still have Americans in Afghanistan. People are dying. ICU beds are full, but the iPhone's in baby blue now. Oh, okay. That's a nice new iPhone. And then they're like, oh, hey, the Met Gala happened. Look at all these rich people dress up and have a party that you're not invited to. We're like, oh, bro, the rich people are having such a good time. Oh my God. It almost feels medieval. Like there's this one girl on my Instagram I follow, and she posts on her story about the Met Gala, and she's like, sorry, this will be my only post about the Met Gala because I'm sure it's flooded your timeline. And I'm like, it's not. I don't look at that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Why is it so popular? But I see it in my other circles. I see it everywhere. I'm like, why do you care about these rich people going to a party you're not invited to?
I don't get it. Like, I think the Met Gala at the same time does like fundraising. Like, there's an actual somewhat purpose to it. I just don't understand why people care so much. Like, dude, I don't care. Like, I'm glad that, hey, they're doing this. They donate some of the money to charity. Good for them. Because I'm sure they throw plenty of parties that don't go to charity. So I'm like, all right, cool. But I don't care to follow it.
I want to say they donate like a couple $100,000 to some institution. Maybe I wouldn't go past $1 million, but I know that the tickets were $30,000 a piece this year, and and you had to pay, and then you had to pick out an outfit because it's like based around fashion. You had to pick out an outfit from a designer, and then I think it's the president of Vogue or some company like that. Like, she judges your outfit and lets you know like we approve of you to come or not. And one of the most, and I gotta ask you, Wagner, because I've never really like been like, what the hell? But AOC went to that, and she had a dress on that said "tax the rich." I was like, what the fuck? Like, what, dude? What? $30K to get into this elite thing? Like, oh, you donate some money. I guess,
she like some of those big names probably don't pay to get in. Is what I would think, because they're part of the draw to get other people in. So I would assume her ticket was probably paid for, or it was donated so that she could go.
Oh.
The dress, probably just a designer that wanted her to wear her dress because she's a big name. Get that designer's name out there. I mean, that's 90% of what most of that stuff is like most people aren't paying those ticket costs. A lot of them are invited in, and then some actually pay. Like, if me and you were rich, dude, we have no in. We could pay the $30,000 ticket cost to get in, but we'll be around
also,
all
like,
those
they're
successful people, so conversations are going to be had.
I don't know of any other
They're
politicians.
also so
that were
rich.
there.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're also so rich. Why would they get a free ticket? Like a lot of those rappers are multimillionaires, and like a lot of those big names, if they're not a rapper, they're multimillionaires. So it's like,
But
a $30,000 ticket to them is a $5.
But what I'm saying is, if none of them go, no one cares about the Met Gala, right? So the idea is they go, you let a good majority of people in, some pay, some don't, but it's you're forgetting about all the side people that aren't famous that are going to that. They're probably the ones paying the ticket price.
So I could agree with you on that, but I don't think AOC is the reason kids are watching or young people are keeping up with the Met Gala. It's more like MK's all blacked out.
I don't think that, but I'm saying people like that, bigger names that people focus on who have that influence like that are probably getting in. A politician like that, probably the same thing. I know for a fact she's not the only politician to ever go to any of those.
No, it's not even the fact that she went. It's the fact of her dress attached to rich at an elite event. I was like, that just seems backwards. I just don't.
It does. It does seem backwards. And I saw
against
her whole went through one of the comment threads.
Yeah.
Well, and I went through one of the comment threads on it, and then again, it's an argument of where do you put the goalpost? Because everyone defending her was like, well, she doesn't mean this type of rich. She means this type of rich. And people are like, no, not that type of rich. This type of rich. And they're like, no. That type of rich is not the rich we're talking about. You're
My
poor.
thing is,
I don't know. I just don't think as a political leader, that was like the best place and platform for her to be like, this is where I'm going to send my message. I just feel like that was a bad place. She could have just wore like any other thing and just
my argument would be is literally
we wouldn't be talking about it.
Makes a statement.
Oh,
that's why you go to something like that and make a statement. It's not about the hypocrisy. It's like the fact that the Republicans have been doing it for time and time again. Like, oh, she wore this dress. This dress costs this much, but she wants to tax the rich. And she's like, that dress was a donation that they let me wear that I had to get back. I never bought that dress. I didn't spend money on that. Like, it's always the thing of like, who cares? She did it to make a statement, get the message out there. Like, she's by no means the 1% or the rich that we want to tax. And I'm sure that most of the people there were probably the 1% she does want to tax, but it doesn't matter. It's about getting her message out there to the people who will end up voting for her and keep her in the place that she's at.
Yeah, she just has to appeal to that base, because that's the thing. Like that's the half of my feed is like clapping emoji and then a screenshot of her wearing it, and the other half is like, it's nothing but rich people there, and you are there yourself. Like it's literally just that's the two branches. So again, appealing to the demographic.
Mm-hmm.
It just, my thing is like, but why the noise around it? Like the thing about, I'm saying, like, it feels medieval that we, comparing to them, we are poor. None of us are living in poverty and skipping meals to get by, but compared to them, we are poor and we're nothing. But, and then we're like watching the rich people are like, yay, like, I hope you have such a good meal. Like, I can't believe you wore this. I can't believe you wore that. Why do you care what they wore?
I mean, dude,
Who cares? Why does it matter?
It's because poor people want that insight as to how rich people live. That's why, big reality TV shows that are following, like, the Kardashians. I want to know how the rich live.
Yeah, I literally heard it on the radio today. They're like, Kim Kardashian failed her bar exam. In California, you don't have to take the 4 years of law school. You can just take the bar. And she said apparently she took something called the baby bar. That's supposed to be like your first year of law school summarized. And she's failed it twice. And that was what I heard on the radio news. Like that's
Dude,
what I heard today.
Dude, and like I mean, no, I mean 100%. You want to look into rich people's lives.
Yeah.
It's different. Because I mean, I feel like we're the serfs out in front of the castle, but I get that because like that's what it's like to watch Too Hot to Handle, or like some of these TikTok stars that are providing absolutely nothing but famous. You're like, hot people live a different world than the rest of us. Like really hot people that you're like, they have no understanding of what normal life is.
Yes,
because they're just so fucking
it's like a social experiment getting to watch it unfold. Like, dude, it's hilarious to me because it's like, dude, y'all don't. Well, that's like one of the funny things, like that always kind of like, I think it's comedians that typically say it. I'd have to know for sure, but they literally talk about the fact that like ugly people have to develop a personality. That's why they're funny, and that's why most comedians are ugly, is because to get people to like them, they had to be funny because they couldn't do it just based off their looks. So they had to develop a personality.
Dude, yeah, like, and that's the problem with like a lot of younger attractive people. They're very boring. Like they talk about nothing, dude. Like it's just so weird. Like when you start doing something you care about, and like these people try to talk to you. Like there's this basically someone was reaching out to me the other day, and I was like working on something, and she's very attractive, but I was almost annoyed that she was speaking to me because like I was working on editing a video, and she's just like, "Did you hear?" And I'm like, "This is gonna be gossip. I don't care. Why do I'm like, all you care about is gossip." And then I'm like, what did I hear? And it was fucking gossip that had nothing to do with me. And I'm like, no, it'll be fine. And I'm like, this is your life. You're hot. Everyone gives you everything. This is all you know is gossip. Like, what?
That's just it too. Is like, so I agree with that, because like trying to talk to people who are even like semi good looking, if they know they're good looking, dude, they're boring. They have nothing to talk about. Like they don't look at hobbies the same way we do. Like we get fulfillment from like hobbies and side projects and stuff like that. They don't. They get fulfillment out of being attractive and being told they're attractive and being in those kind of circles. And it's like,
yeah,
I can't get it that way, man. We live a different life. Like I can't relate to you. No, I don't want to know what it's like to be in the club and have people trying to talk to me and buy me drinks. Like I don't know what that's like. I'm sorry.
Literally, the other day I had like that knee-jerk reaction you get where you just like automatically open Instagram or Facebook. I opened Instagram and I was just like, there's nothing here. Mm-hmm. There's nothing here. Like I got back to what I was doing, what I was working on, but it was an instinct to pick up Instagram. And I'm like, again, it's like a bunch of different hot chicks taking a photo in the mirror or taking a photo at a Dallas bar where there's a neon sign, just being hot in public.
Yep.
I'm like, and again, like, look, if that's the way you live your life, that's fine. If that's what matters to you, like, you probably think my life is stupid, but I'm just saying, like, from my perspective, I'm like, there's nothing fucking here. I'm like, I get so mad. I'm like, I'm just gonna unfollow every hot chick. But it's good to look at, so I might not.
Yeah, let's not go crazy.
So yeah,
go crazy.
I'm gonna bitch about it. They better stop living that way.
Mm-hmm. It's just one of those things that it's like it's trying to talk to those people, and like that's what I have a trouble with, is like even in our job having to talk to those people and try to feign interest in their life, and it's like, God, you are a dud. You are just boring.
Right.
You have nothing interesting to talk about. You don't sound like you have any passion in your life or anything that you genuinely find exciting. It's just like, dude, I don't know how you live that way. I couldn't do it.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like that, and that's the thing. Like, that's what I wonder. Like, I'm not against drinking or partying. Everybody should go try it. Whatever. Mm-hmm. I like to drink, but I'm also like, that is their life.
Yeah, that's
being seen
all
in public.
they do.
So I'm like, when they're like 30, 35, I mean, they're not as hot. They still think they are. What are they going to be doing? You didn't start anything.
Well,
like,
that's when you join like an MLM, right? You start working in some scams and stuff like that.
Yeah. You have to. That's
Well, dude,
you can't be you can't be bothered with the idea that you might have to apply yourself to something else. You're like, no, this has got to be it.
I mean, I've seen clubs like that are like for older or middle, like 35 to 55. Like I've seen older people, like a lot of older people in some clubs.
And that's fine.
So
I thought they were a myth.
But that's
feathers.
But I'm saying, like, that's the funny thing is, like, and that's the thing. So like they're 30 and 40 or whatever. They're getting up there. They've been drinking for every night for 20 years. They're ugly now.
Yep.
Their skin is horrible. They all are ugly, but they all knew they all used to be hot. So they're all kind of keeping up the charade, and they're all like out of shape, but they all still get horny and have those little parties. And I was just like, where does it end, bro? Where does it end, bro? Like, I mean, if your life is sucking and fucking, I guess that ain't a bad thing. But I'm just like, where does it end?
Dude,
I don't know, man.
Bro,
I don't know either, man.
So I got down a rabbit hole, today. So along the same lines of like how Quentin was talking about like alcohol and stuff like that and changing out the bottles, I went down a rabbit hole of scams that apparently there used to be a scam in Japan because fruit was really, really expensive there, that people from Japan would buy, like walk around with like a watermelon, bump into a tourist and scream at them to replace it and give them $100 to replace it. That was the scam because fruit prices were so expensive there.
Holy shit,
dude! So there was a I guess you can kind of call it a scam, but I remember when I was reading a book one time. I think it's where I learned it from. But anyway, it was a sales and body language book. But it's kind of how the free gift, free trial thing started. Was that so? There was these they worked for the Catholic Church or something, but they'd sit in the airport, and what they do is they'd give you a rose, and they tell you it's free. It's just a rose. You're beautiful. Here you go. Then after you accept the rose, they're like, oh, thank you so much. They're like, hey, you want to buy these stickers? And then you feel obligated now because you've gotten a free gift from them. So they always sold stickers like crazy. That's how they made a lot of their money. So that's how, restaurants with free appetizers, like the free chips and salsa, or any company that's like, hey, you get this on the house. Now, do you want anything? You're like, well, shit. I mean, yeah, I want something now, I guess. That's how it starts. It's kind of a scam, I guess you could call it, but it's a little psychological trick to make everyone feel obligated in the situation.
Dude, it's weird to me because I'm one of those people that like in 90% of those situations, I'm just like, nah, I don't care. Like I feel like I'm one of those people that those scams wouldn't work on because I'm just like, yeah, dude, I don't care. Like, not my problem, man. Have a nice day. Like,
I'm gonna bring me another bowl of chips.
Not even that. Like, I don't go to a restaurant for the free chips and salsa. I go there for the food, not the chips and salsa. Like, I go in there wanting actual food. The chips and salsa, it's like, that's cool. It's like an amenity to it, to like nice hotels and stuff like that. How they have those little amenities.
You gotta. It is
weird how little. Dude, go ahead.
I was just gonna say Clayton should go to a restaurant just for chips and salsa and water, and like at the end leave a 25-cent tip or something. Use the restroom at least 3 times.
This water, it's going right through me.
Dude, it is weird how little gifts will make a whole different purchase. It just takes it to another level. It seems it's so insignificant compared to what it is. Like, dude. So some of these, like when I buy skateboards from Girl, they're inconsistent with the stickers. I like stickers. Okay. Mm-hmm. I, a grown adult, I fucking love when I get skateboard stickers. So if they don't send me stickers, dude, I do get kind of mad. But when the next package comes in and they drop like 5 or 6 stickers in it, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, stickers. And that's the skateboard is the most important part. It does not matter if you have fucking stickers on it. But I get so hyped when I see them. I'm like, yes, some stickers. Like,
I'll make my money back.
Fucking dude, yes, bro. Right. So $60 for stickers. But there's this other thing. So I believe it's with Lamborghini. I want to say it's with Lamborghini. If you buy a new one, okay, however you equip it out, you get a model of it in the exact same version. Like a little, it's like this big. Like a
I
little
think
box.
it's Ferrari.
It's either them.
I think it's Ferrari.
One of them. It's one of those high-end luxury foreign cars, but you get an exact model of it that's like, bigger than a Hot Wheel, about yay big. But that's like almost dope. Like, damn, I want the car for the fucking Hot Wheel. Like,
it's like that icing on the cake. Like, I was thinking the Lamborghini versus the Ferrari, but you know what? You're giving me a toy car. I think I'm in.
Yeah, I think I'm in. I can put it up in my house, next to my real car that I actually drive.
Because I'm not, I think it's like party things of like, you put it out as decorations because you don't drive the car all the time because it's a luxury car. You don't want to put miles on it. It loses values. What if you wreck it? You lose it. So you leave it in the garage and then like at a party and they're looking at it like, man, that's a really nice model. You're like, you want to see the real thing? I got it downstairs.
Just for that specific
it's just
scenario.
That scenario, yeah.
It's that type of person. Yeah. Dude, another thing, laces. So I'm always curious, what extra laces are they sending me? I've got reds, whites. I have these round green ones. They're obviously I haven't used them, but if I don't get laces, I'm like, bro, what the fuck? What if I rip these? I don't need them, but I appreciate. I'm like, oh, awesome. What color did they decide should be the secondary color? Obviously, they decided red on this random pair. Dude, I think that's cool.
It's like Apple and the bricks. It's like Apple and the bricks, right? Like, everybody's upset, and it's like, dude, you have like 30 million chargers at home, bro. They're not wrong. You don't need a brick. You've gone through 6 generations, but you're still mad you didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
And, dude, if on the iPhone 14... we're bringing back the brick.
It'd be lit.
It would be lit. Yeah.
Like,
that would sell the phone just right there.
I'm buying the phone for the brick, man.
Yeah. No. What they should do to really do it, they can raise it up $50, add the brick, and then the brick and the cord, their colors correlate with the color of your phone. That. People would be fucking
too dope. Okay, that'd be too
what color did you get?
Yeah. We brought back the brick and we took out the cable. We're like, damn it!
Yeah.
Maybe in 3 more years.
Look, we heard you guys.
The brick and the cable.
Y'all needed the brick, but guess what? We gave you 3 generations without the brick, so we know you have the cords.
Yeah. We're selling you the box because we know you have last year's model phone. Just, you need a new box. This year, we're only doing boxes. Oh, they're right. I mean, I'll pre-order that box.
I watched the little, the YouTube videos, Apple event summed up in under 10 minutes, and I was like,
right.
What really even happened? All their nothing new.
That's just it. They didn't really do anything this year, man. They made a change in the Mini. That's the biggest change that they did out of all the Apple products is the change in the Mini. And that was it. And even that's not that huge of a change.
Dude, life imitates art. They have become the meme of themselves. Apple doesn't do anything every year. Actually, they did. Up until recently, yes, it has come full circle and it has become the meme of itself. But yeah, we don't do shit. It is literally a new color.
Well, dude, that's just it with iPhone. Even though I'm not an iPhone person, they always did minuscule things that were different between phone and phone. They were just all things that didn't apply to me, and I don't feel apply to most people. The 11 Pros to the 12 Pros, the only thing that really changed was LiDAR in the camera, so being able to measure distance and height with it very accurately using the camera. That's about it.
How often do you do that?
Exactly.
How often do you use LiDAR?
But this year they're not doing any of that.
Well, they added to their camera system. They added to the camera system this year. You can choose. You can there's a scroller for the depth, and supposedly you can record at night. At nighttime, you can do that with your recording.
Yeah, that's software updates.
Right.
But yeah,
90% of that's software
other than
updates.
And then they finally have, I think, 120 hertz. But not officially.
Oh, no.
It sounded like checkerboard.
So it is a 120 hertz at certain times.
It's
So
smart,
when you scroll, it's
120.
supposed to be smart, which means we can't make it do 120 hertz all the time because it would kill your battery life, and we don't want to build an actual battery for it. So we'll only have it play at certain times.
Yeah, so
Dude,
And then
it
capped
is crazy.
4K.
It is crazy.
what?
Bro, it is. Well, it is
128
crazy how,
gig
like,
phones can't do 4K video on it anymore. It's limited to 1080p.
I didn't know that.
They
Just
can't
for
record it. If they can't record it, that's fine.
Just so they cannot use their camera to record the 4K anymore in the 128
That's
gigs.
fine.
But if you do 256 or above, you can.
Yeah,
I got
get that.
256.
It eats up so much. I mean, whatever. But again, 128 at this point in time, 128 is small. Like if you type in camera memory card on YouTube, on Amazon, base is 128 is the 10 years ago it was the 1 gig. You know what I mean? Like this is where we're at now. Like 256 should be standard. And it's crazy that files keep getting bigger and stuff like that is crazy. Like a terabyte phone is a thing.
Yep. With ease.
Dudes, did y'all? This is a little off topic, change topic here, but did y'all hear about I bet you did, Clayton. The GeForce Now leak by NVIDIA.
No, I didn't look at it. What's going on?
So I guess NVIDIA or GeForce is like making like a streaming or library Netflix thing like Xbox and PlayStation, because they kept calling it GeForce Now. But I just saw it on YouTube this morning, and all these videos were posted like a couple hours ago, and someone like I guess was able to like get themselves like signed in before you were supposed to, and they were able to find a list of games on there that were unreleased titles, and they found out like there's might be a whole a remake of Final Fantasy 9, Kingdom Hearts 4, Half-Life 2 remastered, like all this stuff. The Uncharted whole series of Uncharted's coming to PC remastered. Like there was just a whole list, and all these different YouTubers were talking about it. I was like, I don't know, dude. I don't know if it's legit or not, but you should look into it. I thought maybe you had looked into it.
My thing is like, it sounds cool, but at the end of the day, dude, I'll live without any of that stuff. Because I bet you, like, they're there in the files, but they've just put the files there. Not to actually test to see, like, those games aren't actually there. They're probably just messing with the system to see if it works.
Yeah.
So, like,
and that's the other thing, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even with an unannounced title, like, think about an announced title nowadays. Like, the PS5 show, it's like Spider-Man 2. You're like, oh, sweet, Spider-Man 2. You're like, yeah, that's going to come out 2022. You're like,
why are you
and
showing
then,
this
or the
to
Wolverine.
me?
It's like, and dude, Elder Scrolls 6 or whatever, Hammerfell or whatever it's going to be, whatever it's going to be, Balance, whatever it is.
That makes me sad.
They quit talking about that. They haven't talked about it in like 3 years.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's like, so yeah, even if it's like Kingdom Hearts 4, again, that's a Square Enix game. Like, my son will probably graduate by the time we see that. It is just point. Like, I can't get hyped about it. Like,
well, dude, that's just it. Is like, I don't think we'll see Elder Scrolls 6 for a very, very long time. Just on based on the fact that they're doing. Bethesda has moved on to where they just want to do online engines and just update the online engines and just keep you on the online. So everything they do is, Elder Scrolls Online or Fallout 76. Like, they clearly no longer want to keep developing on those titles and make it something. Why? I can do a paid subscription fee and make you pay for it every month. Why would I develop a new game that you only buy once?
Mm-hmm.
Way more profitable.
That sucks, but
you can.
That makes me sad because I'm getting into I'm playing Wolfenstein right now, and it's pretty cool. The story's pretty interesting.
Wait, you actually are paying attention to the story for once?
Yeah.
All right, explain the story premise that you understand it so far.
Well, so far, yeah, I'm a Nazi killing bastard. But yeah, you're like this dude that's like, an American badass, and you get like shrapnel in your head, and then you wake up like 14 years later in like the 60s, and Nazis like rule the world. And right now I'm like, let's see, I broke out, or I left like the hospital or whatever that I was in, and we left to, I guess it was like this lady that had been taking care of me. It was like her grandparents' house or something, and then they like smuggled us to some train station that was going to take us to Berlin. Yeah, we went to Berlin, and then when we got to Berlin, we like busted out a resistance group out of jail. And like, dude, the Nazis have like this crazy technology. They have like mech dog or dogs, but like in mech armor and shit. And like, there's like, it's intense, bro. It's really interesting.
Are you praising Nazi science?
Well, so they apparently are like reverse engineering this like ancient Hebrew technology. I don't know. But
so it's the Jews' fault. Okay, great.
And we just stole some like stealth helicopters. I don't know. It's interesting, bro. I like the idea of it.
Dude, I've got the best idea for a YouTube channel that we could do.
What?
Dude, so we literally have Quentin go through, play the game, and try to figure out what the story is, and then I come through after the fact with the real story, but we have Quentin try to explain it to you, and then you repeat it back to us, and then I go through with the facts of like, no, this is actually what the story is.
So what is the story?
Dude, it would... Well, that would be good as one of those... That'd be good as one of those like animated channels. It's like, all right, so basically, you know, you get washed up to the shore, and then this guy comes up to you and starts gyrating his hips. And it's like, when you hear the actual version, it's so...
Yeah, like a game of telephone at a YouTube channel.
Right. Dude, and then, keep explaining it. So after he explains it to me, I explain it to, like, a 5-year-old, and then they have to explain it to you.
Mm-hmm. And then I go through and I just shut the kid down. You've never played this game before. I gatekeep it.
Yeah.
Oh, bro.
There's this series on YouTube. It's like explain it with 5 levels or 13 levels or whatever. I can't think of the channel, but like they'll pick a random topic like theoretical physics, or they'll pick like music theory, and then they'll be like explain it to a not 4-year-old. Explain it to an 8-year-old. Now explain it to a 13-year-old. Now explain it to a high school student. Oh, that third would be 13. College, and then explain it to another person who's like mastered in that field. And that's where it gets weird because it's way less words. Like the music one is like they barely talk. He's like, you kind of like they were talking through their piano. He's like, it's kind of like when you and he's like, oh, like he's like, well, like that, but with the F flat. You didn't do the F flat. And to us, it just sounds all the same, right? But they're like, oh, okay. And then they're just talking through the music. It's weird how that happens, like 2 masters communicating in an art versus when he's like trying to explain to the 5-year-old.
It's like how me and you are with our jobs, right? Like trying to explain our job to someone on the outside is very difficult, whereas me and you can do it in few words, point out our complaint with it, and we both just grab it. We understand exactly what the person's thinking. We get it because we're both in the field and we enjoy it and understand it. But trying to explain it to someone on the outside, it's like it would take too long to explain the intricacies of why this is this and this is this and why this sucks because of this.
Why wouldn't you just do that?
No, agreed. And like, so like, that's the weird thing too, is like when I post skate videos on my social media, I get so caught up in making a trick look right or doing a different trick that I haven't done too much recently. Because I want it to look separate from each other, but I'm like, I forget in the back of my mind, I'm like, if you don't skate, everything looks the same.
Yep.
There's no like, it doesn't matter if it's a tray flip or a varial heel. They're just like the board's flipping and doing stuff, and it looks the same that way and this way. And so it's like I get so caught up in my own thing, but it doesn't really matter. But then again, who am I doing it for? I'm doing it for me and other people who skate, because other people who skate will see it and be like, oh, okay, that's this. Well, that's hard. That's easy. That doesn't look good.
I mean, even then, weird. Like you go back a couple years ago and you probably ask any adult who's the best skater right now. Most of them probably would have said Tony Hawk, when it's like, no, he's not the best skater. He's a legend, but he's not the best anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like you just don't understand it. Yeah. Like,
Yeah, I guess it's so far out there. Like, it's just one of those things too. Like, it's weird seeing it as it progresses. You're like, anything you get into, gaming or whatever, like, you know what a bad call looks like, or you know what a bad play looks like. And then to the outside, I'm like, yeah, they're running around this map, and they're really good at shooting each other. I don't understand what makes it different, really, to the highest degree. I just understand, like, that guy is making it look easy.
Yep.
Like, that's all I know, is that the guy's making it look easy. Yeah. I mean, that, and it's weird to, like, stop yourself too, like, check your own ego, because, like, you'll watch something that you're into, and you're like, that was shit. But then you go do it, and you're like, okay, he actually probably did it better than me.
yeah, trying that, like, the smugness
Try
to
that
it.
myself.
Well, dude, that's like one of the things. Like, I feel like a lot of people struggle with is like that humbleness to it when you perfect something. Is trying to stay humble about it and not become smug about it. Of like, I don't understand how no one else gets this. Like, I get it. It makes sense. Like that, like smugness of like, I'm better than everyone else. That's why I get it, and they just don't.
Yeah, and then there's also like when something gets so big that the outsiders start looking at it, and then like it's not in context. Like the barracks has gotten so big now, it's just insane, dude. Like any video they post a game of skate between two people you've never heard of, still gets 500,000 views, which is not normal in that niche. Like the best skate videos get like 30K. You know what I mean? So like you have outsiders that are like, both these guys suck. Both these guys suck. This is terrible. Like now, like they just like last week they posted a game, and one guy really he choked. He had a horrible game. Like I felt bad. I probably would have done the same. Thinking about 500,000 people watching me and being at the barracks, I'd choke. Like,
yeah, that's your reputation from now on too, is that he's gonna be a choke, that he can't perform.
Dude, he did a web redemption. That's not a thing. That's never been. No, they literally had him come back the next day, or I guess it was right after, and he's like, he had to be like, hey guys, like I actually don't suck and I can land these tricks, and he re-landed everything he missed, and he was so mad because he couldn't do it during the game, and I'm like, I get it. I would want to redeem myself, but also it's weird that it's so big that he has to now.
Well, it's probably
because
also
people
from
are
the
like,
side.
yeah, you suck.
Yeah, it's probably also from the side of the barracks too. Is like the barracks doesn't want to tarnish its brand of being like, oh, we're just bringing in anyone. Like, no, dude, this guy actually is like a good skater. We didn't just find this dude at a skate park. You know what I mean?
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. And yeah, like you'll catch yourself. I'll catch myself. I'm like, bro, that was not clean. And then I'll go do it, and I'll be like, okay, mine's not that clean either. I guess I'll shut up. Yeah. But yeah, it's because the outside like gets to you. The outside gets to you, and you're like, maybe these people are right. Do they? If everybody's saying they suck, but it's like, dude, you don't understand. Like, it makes you appreciate the level. Like when you see a street league or an X Games, you have to remember that is the best of the best. Like just because it's normal for them, that's still really fucking crazy. It's so weird.
It's
like,
the level. Well, it's like
NBA,
football.
Whatever.
It's like football players.
Yeah,
like you'll see a lot of them talk about it, and like, dude, they will never just say a player sucks or anything like that. They'll always mention some offhand player that like nobody really knows about. And they're like, dude, this guy is legit. Like he taught me this, this, and this, and it's like, I've never heard of that guy. And it's like, yeah, dude, they don't suck. Like I remember hearing a story about a guy on I think it was like the Milwaukee Bucks or something like that, who was getting trash talked because he was like the 16th man on the team of the Milwaukee Bucks. And everyone was like, I could do better. All this guy does is sit on the bench. He's not talented. He has no talent. He went to a park one day and like advertised that I'll be at this park if you want to play me in one-on-one. And dude, he smashed everyone he played. It's like, you don't understand the level, bro. It's the fact that I am better than any of you will be. I am way above average. The guys that are here are even above me. Like, I am not bad. I am just in bad comparison to them.
I like a good pro versus Joe when the
Mhm.
Joe's talking shit. I like a good Joe that gets smacked down when he steps out of his place, because it has to be put into context. Like, dude, I get you think I suck compared to the world's best, but I'm just playing on the same field as them, dude.
Mhm.
Like, I get maybe I won't be number one, but this is the best I'll ever be, and it's still pretty fucking good, dude.
Mhm.
Like, I'm sorry, but I'd stuff any of you, and I did.
Yes. Dude, one of my favorite ones is watching the I forget which late night talk show host did it, but like all the people who talk shit on kickers missing kicks and like, I could have done that easy, and he flies them out and makes them do the field goal, and all of them miss, and he's like,
Dude.
now do you want to apologize? Oh.
I could do that, dude. That's like, where does that stem from, man? Like, it's it's so funny, dude. Like, again, taking the flat earthers just in those little jumper planes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why will no one do that? It would vanquish all of the theory. I mean, it really wouldn't, but it would.
It would
dude,
just add
Steve-O,
more rabbit holes.
Dude, because like Steve-O went up in that. Steve-O went up in one. I remember watching the clip, and I was like, dude, you literally see the curve right there.
Mm-hmm.
What the? Not that I was ever a flat earther, but I was like, it's right there, and he's just in a plane.
Yeah, it's
Like,
edited.
that should be
It's
enough.
edited footage. He's in on it.
It's a fisheye lens.
Mhm.
Why is nothing else in the photo warped? I know how a fisheye lens works.
No, you just didn't notice,
Sorry.
man. You just don't have the eye that I have.
I'm saying, dude, it's so crazy that world too. Like, I don't know if y'all watched that Netflix documentary a few years ago.
Oh, the flat earthers
guy who's got
that
the
when they
flat
went
earth-
through and proved themselves wrong with their own theory.
I watched
Yeah,
the guy
cut
that's
the black.
he's like in Seattle or something.
I can't
Yeah,
remember.
like he started the YouTube channel.
Yes.
And then there was like the flat Earth bike, and then they all had that guy that sold the flat Earth models and people. That's so insane, dude.
Dude, that documentary made me laugh because like the whole thing is like build up. We're gonna run. Like they're hyping up this experiment and all the stuff they've done. They do it and it fails. They're like, well, we just did this wrong. That's why it's not correct because we missed this in the equation. It's like, no, bud, I don't think you missed anything. I think you just proved yourself wrong.
I used to work with a flat earther. This guy and his brother were flat earthers. Yes, bro. Used to work with them, and I remember how everyone at work everyone at work was really nice up there, but they're like, so I can't remember his name. Actually, I wouldn't say it even if I remembered, but they were like, have you worked with so and so yet? I'm like, no, I haven't worked a shift with him. They're like, okay. All right, cool. And they would just change the topic. Like, it was like, all I'm thinking, I was like, this is going to be great. I don't know what this guy's bringing, but one guy finally told me before. He was like, hey, man, have you worked with so-and-so? I was like, no, but I have a shift with him tomorrow or whatever, however the scenario was. And he's like, well, he was like kind of nervous talking about it because he was like more
gauging whether you're in on it or not.
Yeah. Well, the guy that he was referring to was more senior than the rest of us. And he was like, well, like, he just, like he's kind of into that, like, flat earth thing. Like, kind of was where he's like, I don't know, like, I kind of looked into it. I don't know. There's some stuff there. And I like laugh. I'm like, dude, I don't think there's anything there, bro. It's cool. So I work with the guy. He doesn't bring it up. Cool. We work another shift together. And I'm like, okay, cool. This guy's like not like shoving it down my throat or something like I expected. Well, I'm telling him about a movie I watched the night before. And then in the movie, they reference Carl Sagan's Pale Blue Dot. And I was like, man, isn't that really crazy? Like, we are just a pale blue dot out in this universe. And he's like, I'm like, oh shit, here it comes.
Fuck, I messed up. I messed up.
Smug face and the fucking the scoff. He's like, oh yeah. I'm like,
here we fucking go.
I got like 9 hours left. I got 9 hours left of this shit. What are we gonna do? He's like, you believe that? Oh, you know that? You believe that? I was like, dude, believe what? He's like, you think we live on a globe? I was like, I don't have a reason to not believe that. And what I'm talking about is that we're in space. I just think that's interesting that we're very small. And he's like, nah. He's hitting his vape and he's like, you should look into it, man. And he starts spitting me the theories of like, he's like, I had they're talking about this guy that they tied a rope to the boat and he like let the boat fly out and he kept the rope straight the whole time and the rope never curved. And I'm like, bro, but how is the rope going to curve down? It's only going to go down. Like, what is going to, I was like,
yeah, the angle of the rope doesn't
possible.
do that. It would just be angled and diagonal.
Yeah, like if we lived on like King Kai's planet and you could literally go upside down, like what are we fucking talking about? So I humor him and I'm like, all right. So he doesn't get on it too much. He's like, just go to the website. You should look into it, And he starts telling me more like everything from NASA's Photoshop and all this stuff. I'm like, all right, yeah. And I'm like, I know again, that's out of context. It is Photoshopped. But what you mean by that is they have to composite the image because they can't take a photo so big. They have to get different angles and composite them together. Mm-hmm. Technically speaking, yes, it is Photoshop. Not in the way you're thinking. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I look up the website. I do. I look it up, like whatever it is, Flat Earth Society or whatever. You can read through it. It's like someone's Wikipedia page. I'm dying laughing because I already know what I'm going to tell him next day at work. And so he's like, hey, man, did you check out the website? Now I do my scoff. I'm like, yeah, I did check out the website. And he's hits his vape. He's looking so happy because he thinks he's converted another. And he's like, what do you think? And I'm like, honestly, bro, it sounds like a meme that got out of hand. Like somebody was trolling and too many people took it serious. And he looked kind of pissed off. And I'm like, dude, like we're talking about it, and I'm like, he talks about you can't see the curve. And I'm like, yeah, but like if an ant was on a basketball, they wouldn't probably see the curve either, but they'd be able to walk around the whole thing. Like it's all scale, and then he's talking about, yeah, but if you dunk a tennis ball in water and you spin it, the water flings off. I'm like, yeah, that's scale. And that's the fur of the ball is like also flinging it. Like, again, you're talking about a planet. Like, what isn't the water spilling off and all this? I'm like, you're talking about a planet.
Yeah,
the way
that's
gravity
just it, dude. You have to. Then you'll get on the argument of gravity with them. They do not believe in gravity either because if gravity's real, it defeats their whole theory. So they don't believe in gravity, and their explanation for it is like it's something dumb like pressure or something like that is what causes things to go to the earth. It's something really dumb that like when you break it down, it does not make sense.
The world is like a plate and it's lifting upward. So we're just staying down because if you put like a piece of chicken on a plate and just move it up, the chicken's not going to fly off. It's constantly going up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like imagine that. There's a plate going up. And then like there's an ice wall around this disc that we live on, which on the maps is Antarctica. That's why it's twisted. That's why if you turn a globe upside down, you say Antarctica as a circle. Because if you fold it out, it would be a ring. I'm like, dude, what? Like, what?
Yep.
There is like, and they're like, well, there's zones you can't fly to. I'm like, yeah, that's true. There probably is some shit they're hiding. However, it is not the edge of the planet. That is not what they're hiding. Like
there's people that work in the South Pole. Like public.
Do they actually?
Not the whole point.
Do they actually though, Quentin? That's the problem. It's like you cannot defeat this with logic because it's the optimal thing of moving the goalpost. There's a reason why the scientific community like literally does not address flat earthers and stuff like that. And flat earthers take that as validation when in actuality they're like, dude, this has been proven for years. We've given you experiments to run. If you don't want to run them, that's on you. We're not revisiting this when it's been proven for millennia that this is the way that this works. Like, we're not going back.
You're not that guy.
So crazy.
You're not that guy.
It's just like, my problem is, what is the end goal? That's what I don't get. Like, what do they stand to benefit by lying to us? That's my problem is I cannot see a viable end goal that I can rationalize and make sense.
To prove that they're not dumb, I guess, to prove that they haven't, been believing in a
Well,
falsehood
because
for so many years. I don't know.
the idea is that if they're lying to us about the Earth, they will be lying to us about everything. And I'm like, I understand that, but the Earth is too big of a lie to keep up.
Yeah.
Like, it's too big of a lie.
They'd have. Well, that's just it,
like
because they'd have to create these complex scientific theories that you can run these experiments yourself. Like, the whole point with a lot of these experiments is you can do these same exact things, you'll get the same exact results. So it's just like, dude, why? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, the lie would have to be way too complex that, like, it could not make it. Like, the best lies are simple lies.
They get into, like, because, like, the flat earthers get into, like, flight patterns and shit too. Like, they're
so I am actually interested in the flight patterns of the North Pole. The South Pole, I know for a fact, because that's where that's like Antarctica, correct, Clayton? I'm gonna say something dumbass. That's South Pole. Okay, right, and that's where we have like the storage of all the seeds around the world in case there's some like collapse, isn't it? Or is that where's that?
North?
I thought
like
that was
that's the like I think it's the Netherlands or something like that. It's like it's not.
Well,
the South Pole,
there's I know we do something in the South Pole because there's a lady
that
falls on TikTok that they just show their job.
We do scientific studies down there all the time. We're constantly studying it. It's pretty much a place frozen in time.
So that's like interesting, but the North Pole, I am interested. I haven't looked into it in years, but like I was into a conspiracy years ago about like some air pilot that like flew over it, and like his like scripture or whatever, like from their conversation was like him talking about stuff that he saw, and he got in trouble after he flew past it or something, and it's like a no-fly zone on the North Pole, but that like falls into the hollow Earth rabbit hole too, but I think that's really interesting. I don't know. I know it's probably not real, but I think it's interesting.
I'm sure though, if you like look into all that, you could probably find the real reason why he got in trouble. It's probably just the simple fact it's a no-fly zone. This is why it's a no-fly zone. Like,
yeah.
The other reason
why, Earth, though, bro, I haven't thought about until Clayton brought it. When you were the one that brought it up, dude, you were like, dude,
no, I didn't.
Reported seeing. You're talking about the giants or some shit. Yes, that tunnel.
Yeah, that was
like, what? And I started thinking about it again. Dude.
I don't think that's like. I don't think that supports why we can't fly over the North Pole.
No, I don't think so either.
I get what you're saying.
No, but that's the funny thing. Dude. That's in Godzilla vs. Kong. They go to the North Pole to where you jump through the hollow Earth and you're into their planet, which is inside of our Earth. So it's funny because like I forgot that was a thing till I watched when that came out a few months ago. I was like, oh my god!
Also like
I forgot people believe this.
Well, because there's like reports from like expeditionists and stuff like saying like claiming that people helped them that were supposedly from inside the Earth. But I know it's very BS-y and very like fairy tale-ish, but I mean, there's a core, bro. There's stuff under there. I don't know.
Yeah, liquid magma.
BS-y and fairy. That's not what I'm saying. Is that it's a fairy tale. It's BS. Yeah, there's no fly zones, and I'm sure to some degree it's because there's some shit you can't see. Like you can't fly over Area 51. There's some shit you are not allowed to see. Like even on Google Maps, there's places you can't see. Yeah, there's some shit there. There is that people are hiding.
Well, like Area 51.
Do I think it's the portal? Do I think it's a portal to the Hollow Earth? Probably not. I don't think we're built like a Kincaid egg. You know,
that's what I'm getting at. It's like there are probably legitimate, realistic reasons as to why they don't want you flying there and stuff like that. Like Area 51, like, homeboy, we test experimental things. We don't want other countries knowing what we're testing. It makes sense that we keep that very, very secret. Like, that is actual national defense. Like, I'm sure there are plenty of things where it's like, no, dude, there's a logical reason as to why. Here's the reason.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. It's just
or maybe even logical or not, but just like government secrets. Like, you know, like you get people like Bob Lazar that speak out after he's employed by them and his life is
ruined,
you know?
I read a full breakdown of like someone being like, I I'd have to find it again, but he went through a whole thing on like why Bob Lazar isn't as legit as he says he is. And he's like, they never tried to erase him and stuff like that. And they're like, here's all the logical explanations of it. Here's where he standed to benefit from it. Here's what he has, but we've noticed that he's done before in the past that are real. Like, after seeing that breakdown, I re-listened to the Bob Lazar thing, but I'm sorry, I don't buy the whole headache theory. Like, when he was on with Joe Rogan, and anytime Joe would ask him a probing question for a little bit more detail, I got a headache, man. I just, hold on, it's just really hard, and the subject would change off of that.
Yeah, but he's also been on multiple times.
Because like
that, I watched that one. I didn't like that one because the half the episode.
I've only seen him on there
but
once.
He's been on before.
But I think he's only been on there once.
Because like I was like, oh, it's another episode. I haven't seen this one because he brings that guy with him. Because he's been on there before. That's why I watched it. I was like, oh,
no. The one that he was on there with was, so you're probably thinking, because very soon after he did Commander David Favor, who had a UFO experience, but that was different. Bob Lazar, I'm pretty sure, has only been on there one time, and he brought that handler with him the one time he went on there, because the guy was doing a documentary about it.
Maybe he got leaked about UFO
I just
stuff.
remember... Well, yeah, I just remember there was a guy. Maybe it wasn't Bob Lazar. I just remember the guy talking about how like he walked in the room and there was a gravity pulsating off of this object. So did Bob said the same thing though, and I'm like was that the same person?
That was just Bob. Because David Favor was
there's two
pilot that saw the Tic Tac off like one running like a Navy flight drill or something like that when they were doing training missions. He saw that. But, like, I'm pretty sure Bob Lazar's only been on there one time. But, like, someone went through and they were like, look at this from a skeptical point of view. Like, go at this very skeptically and kind of look at this. I was like, all right, I'll do it. I looked at it and I'm like, at this point, I don't know how I feel about Bob Lazar. I have problems with this story that I don't believe. Like when they're like, oh, but they say he never worked at, what was it, Los Alamos Labs or whatever. The explanation for that is because he didn't actually work for Los Alamos Labs. He worked for a subcontractor company. That's why he's on the directory. But why there's no proof of employment there is because he worked through a subcontracted company.
Which is fine. I mean, even if you have a skeptic view, have a skeptic view of the skeptic view. Because there's some people that are like, Bob Lazar or anything that's crazy doesn't fit my worldview. So I have to correct it to mine because that would shatter mine. So
well, my thing
same all around.
My thing isn't that. It's that I don't believe the full story of it. Could some of it be true that he worked on some weird things?
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
But when they're like, oh, no, the government tried to erase him, it's like, I don't know how to tell you this, but if the government was trying to erase him, they would have fucking done what the Clintons do. He would have suicided himself.
Mm-hmm. That's
probably.
So it's like,
again, you know what I mean? Because they were like he was talking about at the very beginning. He's like, they put misinformation in your documents, and then everyone else has a different project they're working on, and they swap y'all. There's always 1 to 2 false things in the reading, so you look crazy. I'm like, dude, that's the CIA is 10 steps ahead. So probably they need that person to be like, no, we need him to look crazy. So what we're doing is fine. Because dude, they're smarter, you know. MK Ultra, they're steps ahead, bro. They're always steps ahead. Like,
my thing is like at the end of the day, when it comes to like the Bob Lazar one, it's that like I don't deny maybe he worked on some weird stuff, but I don't think the rabbit hole goes as far as he leads on to be. Like, I don't think the government tried to erase him or completely discredit it. They didn't need to. Like, there's no reason for anyone to believe them because from the beginning he said, oh, I don't have any proof of this. I have no way to verify any of this information. So the government doesn't need to disprove him. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I'm like, I don't believe that the government was after you about it. I think they just never gave you enough information that you could actually do something with it that could be verified and fact-checked. So they don't have to worry about skewing the perception of you.
That's what I'm saying. That skews the perception. Because, again, that's like, it's so top secret that you can't prove it because you don't have access to the document. So from the jump, any skeptic is like, cool, I don't believe you at all. So they're like, perfect. There's nothing we have to worry about. So like, it's fine if he looks, it's better if he looks crazy. So it's like, cool, this stays with the detractors. You know, our skeptics will have our back. You know, and then like whoever wants to believe whatever, we don't have anything. We don't have to work extra hard. He's doing everything for us because it's top secret. How are you going to prove something top secret? You don't have access.
Well, exactly.
You know?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't believe the government tried to erase his employment history and they got rid of his like graduation records and stuff like that. I'm like, they don't need to. Why? Like they have no reason to. Like, they're already so far ahead that they don't need to worry about that. Like, by the simple fact of, like, the omission of details, false reports, and stuff like that, and the fact that this guy claimed from the beginning, I have no physical proof of any of this happening. So it's like, yeah, we don't need to. Why would we need to go through and get rid of his, like, work records or go through and get rid of his graduation records and stuff like that? You know what I mean?
He's also just labeled a conspiracy theorist, so people are already, like you said, going to take it with a huge grain of salt. It's not like Edward Snowden, they're like labeled as a straight up whistleblower, like seeking asylum in other nations. Like
because he could
knows
actually.
shit.
That's crazy.
Well, that's just it.
Like,
What he did is he dropped top secret information. So, like, can it be done? Yes. He just, like, Edward Snowden did a great justice to prove something we all already kind of knew was true.
And no one's done
I'd
anything
say
about it.
again, that was another one of the scenarios. Like, government's not watching you. Well, you're crazy. He comes out. We knew that. No. Let's backtrack, because that is exactly one of those scenarios. So what he did was, you know, sacrifice his normal life for what he believed in at a basic level. But yeah, expose all that stuff. Being spied on. The crazy.
Here's
that's
my
what I'm saying.
thing
Like,
about
people
that.
are like, the government's watching you, and they're like, no, the government's not watching you. He comes out, they're like, well, we knew they were watching us.
So no, here's where I disagree with it, because we knew about the Patriot Act before that, and the Patriot Act is what enabled NSA to do that. We just didn't know the degree in which they were doing it, and that's what Edward Snowden brought to light, is the degree and how much information they did.
Because we didn't understand when they said looking for terrorism can pretty much blanket everything.
Yes. So, like,
exactly,
we knew it was happening.
Exactly
we just didn't know to the degree.
It confirmed to the degree, dude, because, like, before his stuff came out, bro, like, I remember some of family members telling me, like, they're like, dude, I know a guy that works at Texas Instruments. They have the technology in your TV to turn the camera on and watch you. This is back when we still had, like, the round screens on some TVs. And, like, it was cool to have a flat screen TV, and the little sensor in it was just for the remote. I remember they were like, dude, they have the technology to turn the camera on inside that. And I'm just like, as a little kid, I'm like, that's preposterous. That's crazy. I didn't use the word preposterous back then, but I was like, that's crazy. That was years before. And then he comes out and it's like, he confirms all that conspiracy theory talk. That's what always blows my mind.
That's
why
I would say it's.
That's why I can't just turn away. I can't just turn away a crazy idea, because it's like, dude, stuff like that happens.
It's not that, like, my argument to what Edward Snowden proved was not like, he didn't prove a conspiracy theory. He proved how that they were doing a lot more than what they said they were going to do. Like, we knew they were looking at, that's what the Patriot Act was for. Like, we knew that was going to happen. We just didn't know to the degree. So that one, like, little different than most conspiracies. Like, that one, we had information to back it up. It was somewhat vetted. He just confirmed, like, no, they're doing a lot more with it than what they say they're doing.
Kind of seizing power with it, like, overreaching.
Yeah, like, he showed, like, no, this should be a real fear. This is what they did. They did overreach with this power. But that's just it. It's like, I will not give every conspiracy a second look. I will look at them. I will walk through, and if I cannot see any of the lines connecting or any real purpose as to why they would do it, that doesn't need 7 other unverifiable conspiracy theories to even make sense. That's when it gets hard for me to believe your theories. Like, If you want to talk to me about it, cool, I'll engage on it. Maybe you can tell me some stuff. I'll look back into it. But as far as like glancing past, I'll take a quick look at it. If I can't assign anything that makes sense without going through 9 other conspiracies, I can't do it. Because like that's just it. Like I understand false flag attacks happen all the time. I understand the thought process to the 9/11 theory. Like I get that. I think it's a conspiracy because it hasn't been proven yet. But could it be true? Yeah, probably. I mean, we did the Gulf of Tonkin. Like, we have false flag operations that have happened. So, like, 9/11, that theory, like, I don't really buy it myself, but I can understand the actual rabbit hole and the thought behind it.
There's
the problem is that it's too easy to connect. That's the scary thing. It's like, I get where you're coming from. If it takes 20 other things, but that's the thing. That's the scary one. It's too easy to connect, and it's questionable because it happened in our lifetime as kids. So then you're like, if this actually is true, being a false flag, it can shape your worldview differently, and it's scary to let go of that. That's the problem. That's the what is it called? Not confirmation bias. There's something else. There's like that internal. What is it? It's something like that. That internal aptitude that you don't want to believe it because you're like, this could change everything, but there's too many weird things about it. You know, that's the scary part. It's like you almost don't want it to be fake.
I was hearing that like and you'll have to tell me, Clayton, because this is just like a thought I had, but I feel like I've heard like before that Pearl Harbor, like people have theories that like the military or generals or FDR or someone had knowledge of it but let it happen.
No,
so I don't know.
That's a misconception. It's the fact that like by the time he had gotten the information, the attack was already being commenced. Like it was too late to act upon it or anything like that. Like it's a misconception on the timeline and stuff like that. And then if you look at the war and look at the strategy of the war, it makes sense as to why the Japanese would attack Pearl Harbor, because the Japanese had pushed into China at that point for China's oil reserves so they could sustain their machine and their environments and their like all their armor, their boats, all of that. Well, they got in a stalemate in China and couldn't get any forward, so they couldn't get those natural resources. They needed that sustainable resource to be able to keep the war going to where they could win. They got deadlocked in China and could not push any further. So the next option where we had oil was going to be in those islands and stuff like that where they could get some natural resources from them. Well, the U.S. controlled all of those and was allies with all of those. So if they were to make any aggressive movements on it, the U.S. military would have gotten involved. So the idea was, well, it's going to happen inevitably. We want to take it. So strategically, they're all in Hawaii right now. If we take that strike and we could cripple their navy, we could take all these islands, and we could viably win this war. It was essentially just their backs were against the wall. They knew what they had to do, and they had an opportunity, and they took it. So, like, that one, there was no false flag needed to get into World War II. Whereas, like, World War I, like, false flag. Like, we literally sent a passenger boat into those waters, knowing for a fact, and the Germans had said multiple times, we will sink anyone that comes through here, passenger boat or not. Do not send people here. This is blockaded. If you come through, we will sink the boat. What did we do? We sent civilians through that with American passengers and stuff like that, knowing that they would sink it.
I think there was
yeah. Not only that, like that's what I'm saying. Like that's not really what I'm saying, but to the point of our government has no problem sacrificing its own people to push its agenda. So that should never be out of the question. Like that it would happen. Anything like that. We'll just sack our own people. Okay. That's crazy.
It's to a degree. It's just that is
to a degree. They're dead. They really did it.
No, I mean to a degree, as in like I don't think it goes as far as you think, as far as on the conspiracy rabbit hole, because those I can assign a decent motive to. I can understand the motive behind it, where it makes sense to me. Where a lot of the conspiracies nowadays, it's like I don't understand the motive. Like I don't get the angle of their motive.
I mean, sometimes just connecting dots, bro. Or like the 9/11 thing is just like there was so many coincidences. Like, mm, mm,
Even that,
or
Like a
like
scary
even
amount,
that,
JFK
right?
well,
assassination.
even
A
with that
scary
one
amount.
though, you can look into why we would want to invade that country and why that makes sense. Like, I can
Oh,
see
Not
that
even
and
okay,
I can
but
understand
sure.
that motive. Whereas people are like, they want us to wear masks for this. It's about control, and it's like, okay, I don't understand the overarching goal because by all these other conspiracy theories, they already have that power, so it doesn't make sense with this one. Like, a lot of them, it's like, I need to be able to see a viable motive that can somewhat make sense.
I mean,
I think like also like how it gets crazy. It's just I mean, there's like contact tracing. Like that seems like an overstep. I don't know to what would not qualify as an overstep or something that'd be similar that would be like, well, it's not an overstep because we also do this. But like, I think that's crazy to like have it on your phone, and if you give it to someone or if you have it to trace back your steps, find out who gave it to you, and then they're in trouble too. Like that's crazy, or like the app. I think it's in Australia. Like
It's
it'll randomly
Australia
come
or
on.
New Zealand.
You gotta prove that you're
Australia,
at home. That's
Australia.
crazy. Like that's
Yeah.
scary. I feel like that's an
So
overstep. Like
have y'all
again, that's not our government.
Hmm.
That's not ours. But I'm saying like
have
that's
y'all
crazy. It's an overstep in the government.
it's a first world government, so it still should be important. But like, have
Yeah.
y'all seen
Right.
I don't know if it's real or not, but I keep hearing about that Australia has COVID camps, like for people who have COVID or have refused the vaccine. And it's like people are recording themselves in like these little like shanty houses, and like people are bringing them food and stuff, like in their hazmat stuff. I'm like, that's weird.
Like
But I
you're
don't
like
know if it's real or
regulated to
not.
like a. Are
To
you
like
like
a quarantine
in a
area. You're like a
okay? You're in
quarantine
like a
little
movie
village,
style.
basically. Yeah, kind of. That's what it looked like,
You're
but I don't
you
know if y'all have
you're
heard about that.
you have to live there for while you have it, or like
I get that's what it looked like a
uh,
quarantining area. Let me look it up real
I
quick.
don't
See what
know.
it
To
says
me,
it's
man,
like a
like,
movie style
I,
thing.
I,
But also,
I've kind of become dejected at looking at COVID because it's just like, dude, at this point, like, I don't care. People don't care enough to try to make this thing go away. They don't do responsible thing because everything has to be a conspiracy. And it's like, and all y'all doing is pushing back on all this makes them have to overreach more, even if it, like, even if you are right about the conspiracy, bro, I don't know how to tell you this, but you've lost. They've overreached. They've won. People are dying, even if they are seizing the moment and COVID is real. Because remember that COVID wasn't real for the longest time. That was a conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? We found out it was real. Like, same logic. Like, cool. Whatever you want to say, man, they've proven you wrong on multiple cases, and now you're forcing their hand where you're by you not doing the right thing and making smart decisions and stuff like that because you question everything, they're now being able to use that as an excuse to overreach because you won't just do the right thing sometimes. So for me, it's like, dude, I've become so dejected from it because it's like, dude, at this point, it's hard for me to care to look at. It's like, yep, everything you do to push back is causing more overreach because you won't follow simple things that make no sense. Like, oh, I don't want to get the vaccine because there's microchips in it. Okay, guys, look, there's no microchips in it. Hey, it's experimental and causes hearts to explode. It's like, okay, one, that happened in one version of the vaccine. It wasn't even that remotely bad. It was only this many out of this many doses given. So, by standards wise, like, still extremely safe by FDA approval. So it's like one of those things. It's just hard for me to care about everything everyone brings up and every other rabbit hole. I'm just not interested in it anymore.
So okay, the Australian camps is real. That's not a rabbit hole. They have a quarantine infrastructure for international travels and domestic travelers. There's one in Australia. You have to stay there to prove you have no COVID, or if you have it, you have to stay your whole quarantine. And there's two more, each with the capacity of 2,000 being built in Brisbane, Melbourne, and Sydney. But yeah, you just have to stay at these camps. It says it's mostly for travelers, but can use to isolate the contagious and are necessary. Because apparently they were using hotels and it was not working. It was leaking to the community.
Like,
That's interesting.
even then, like, my thing with that isn't like that's not real or anything. It never was. It's more just I don't care to look into it, because I think with the way that everyone pushes back on everything, it's giving the ability for the government to pull more overreaching stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
That just reminds. I keep laughing because it reminds me of a bit Tim Dillon had a few episodes ago. He's like, is it not crazy now? Like, you turn on the news and you're like, oh, the apocalypse again. Oh, it's like, dude, truly, like, that's how bad it's got. It's like, next, don't care.
That's pretty true,
100,000 more dead. 100,000 more dead. There's no beds. You're like, oh my god, whatever. Oh, who's at the Met Gala? Oh, Kanye.
Kanye.
It's literally
Kim covered her face.
I'm dejected from it,
we're
man.
18 months in. We're 18 months in now, and it's like, dude, I saw a post about that. It was like, the hardest part of 2 weeks to slow the spread is the first 18 months. And I'm like, dude, 100%.
Guess what? This is gonna make you super happy, Wagner. Guess who? And I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter now because the recall's already over. But guess who was running for governor of California, and I guess is like trying to build a platform.
Oh, I have no idea. I know Newsom won the recall, and then everyone in California immediately started, like, all the Republicans were like, they cheated, they lied.
Yeah, a lot of
I was hoping Caitlyn Jenner was going to take it.
That's what I was going to say, dude. Caitlyn Jenner, dude, she's gonna run for something. And then there's like an NFL player running for senator in Georgia or something. I'm like, dude, like these people.
Yeah, because I want the man with CTE to start telling me how to live my life.
I actually trust the NFL player more than Caitlyn Jenner.
Give it like 6 months, the CTE will kick in. We'll have a video of him beating his wife or something because he doesn't know where he is and he's forgotten it because of the traumatic brain injury. It's not his fault, so we can't politically call him out on that, but we definitely can't allow this.
Here's the thing. Caitlyn Jenner's a murderer. So I'll take... Is she not? She killed them.
Whoa. It was an accident.
Bruce killed them.
Yeah.
Bruce killed them.
It was an accident.
Bruce killed them. And then Caitlyn did not, but Bruce did. I
never heard of this.
But yeah.
He essentially rear-ended someone into an intersection, and they got in a car wreck, and both the passengers died. And got away scot-free. Pretty much, I'm pretty sure they did a settlement out of court, and no criminal charges were pressed, even though it's technically manslaughter.
Oh. Well, I guess he gave the family enough money to settle that. So.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be honest, like, that sounds really shitty, but if the family or, like, the mourning relatives are like, we're all right with this guy not going to jail for this amount of money, I'm all right with it as a citizen. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
so they settled it. At least they settled it.
Justice was served, I guess.
Yeah. My problem is like it sets a standard that I'm not okay with. That's my problem with it. Because like in situations like
you
that,
you could still turn it down. Like in your case, if someone like killed someone in your family, was like, hey, we'll give you $1 million, you could still look them in the face and be like, no.
So the thing is with that, with like homicide and stuff like that, it is not on the family to decide whether they want it pushed or not. It is on the DA.
Oh, okay.
Well, they don't make that call. And that's my problem with that, is because like it's literally putting a price on human life, and that it literally is confirming rich people can just buy their way out of whatever they want to do. That's why I think it sets a poor standard.
I mean, that's the way the world is, and yeah, it just continues the proof of it. But yeah, I mean, it's a business transaction. It's like, you can take this money, you don't take this money, my team of better lawyers is going to continue to pound you into the ground. We're like, all right, whatever, sounds good. So yeah, and again, yeah, rich people, hot people, it's a different planet they live on. It is not, they will never experience the world they live. It's not fair. To some extent, it's not fair.
That's why the broke, ugly person is trying to make it as fair as possible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, maybe we just, transport consciousness, we have that ability, and maybe it is the same to some degree. I don't know. It'd be cool to check out, but yeah, she's a murderer. Or it was in a past life, but I would trust
that was a past life, dude.
It was. Dude, like a football player, you know, homegrown. We had Schwarzenegger. He ran and he did. You know, I mean, we can have actors and bodybuilders from other countries run sections of ours. So, I mean, I think it'd be cool if like each state had their own thing. Like, you know, one was a comedian, one was a football player, one was a soccer player even. You know, we just had this amalgamation of culture running the world would actually probably make it a better society.
Well, so I mean,
instead of
Ronald Reagan was an actor.
Right. Instead of career politicians, you actually just had actual sections of the world.
So
not just
you know who I've heard might run for governor of Texas. I don't know if that's 22
Kid
or
Rock?
24.
Is a different
I haven't heard that. But Matthew McConaughey, the actor, he's from Texas.
I'm down with it. Do it. Pull the trigger.
Clayton's like,
all right.
Devin,
all right. That's what I want his logo to be.
Devin's literally like, the problem's there. Well, let's just pour gasoline on the fire, bro. If we're gonna watch it burn, let's watch it burn bright.
Here's the thing. Hold on. One of our great philosophers did want to abolish democracy and create a republic and just create a council of people who ask big questions. So if we had this swath of society to ask the right questions, it would function better.
No.
So we have Kid Rock, Matthew McConaughey, the random football player, some guy who owns an Arby's. Like, you have these different levels of societies asking the bigger questions.
No. I'm sorry.
Better than a bunch of murderers and pedophiles. You want a bunch of murderers and pedophiles.
I don't. I would rather have scientists and people who are actually well-versed in the field, who are actually doing the research and stuff like that, give us informed decisions. Like, the fact that it's a popularity contest and the fact that we have literal, like, just career politicians in there is disgusting. The system is broken for that exact reason. Like,
so I don't think no one would ever vote for term limits, but we could vote for like requirements. Like, hey, you got to have like at least an associate's degree or a bachelor's, or
you
gotta do this like written exam to see if you can understand shit. Like, I don't know.
No, just a talent show. Like, what do you bring to the table? Like, can you do a Rubik's Cube? Can this guy do a kickflip? Like,
so I got a yacht. My wife's out on Saturdays.
Right.
Party for the boys. Cool. I got to connect with the Hooters up on Broad.
Right. I'm like, you're out. You know, you're on the back burner. The next guy's like, I can play any Final Fantasy theme with these two metal spoons on my knee. I'm like, you're in. You have culture. You had to cultivate some type of talent to be interesting, because nothing else about you was interesting. I like that. You're in. Not some fucking nerd who does science all day. No, like people. Like,
oh yeah, because nerds aren't people. My bad. I forgot.
Real people.
Dude, you are literally just, let's pour gasoline on the fire, man. How much worse could it get, right? Like, at least we'll be entertained for like the next 30 years till we get nuked off the face of the earth because we've elected morons to run everything.
It's been a ride, all right? When I see that solar flare come down and do a couple jumps and pulses before I die, that's what I'll say. It's been a ride. That's
been a ride.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what? Why would you not want? It's already a show. It's already a show. It's just a scary show.
And that's the problem with it, is that it's a show.
I don't want to watch it.
That's the problem. The problem isn't that the show's not entertaining enough. The problem is it's a show.
Scary. Yeah, and it's like, oh my God, these people are incompetent. They'll also sacrifice us for personal gain, our lives and our families for their personal gain, and they're at the wheel. That's not cool. Let's look away. By the way, the iPhone's in baby blue this year. Just a reminder.
Fuck yeah.
Like, that takes my mind off the show for a bit. Okay, hey, we might legalize weed for y'all. All right, I'll take my mind off the show for a little bit.
We might. Lord. It's on the table.
Yeah. we might go to Disneyland if you're good. Okay, Mom. It's literally that. You never go to Disneyland. You don't. It's too expensive. You're not allowed to go.
Dude,
That's for rich people and hot people. Like, because you have to develop something interesting about you. So I hope you were born very talented.
Sometimes, I sit there and I comprehend. And I'm like, man, am I the dumb one in the group? Am I stupid? And every so often, one of y'all throws something out there, and I'm like, all right, cool. We're all on the same level here. Just like Devin wanting to add fuel to the fire. Sometimes I'm like, man, am I inferior to Devin? Is he all this much smarter than me? And then he throws out some of his dumb theories. So I'm like, okay, cool. We're all on the same level. We're still all trying to figure it out.
I don't know shit, bro. Yeah.
Bro, and here's the thing. I'd rather not know. I'd rather not.
Hey, ignorance is bliss. That's what they say.
No.
Thank you.
Actually, it's
can't be scared if I can't understand it.
Exactly. Thank you.
The more, hey, I mean, truly, the more I learn, the less I know. This is what I've come to understand. The more I find out about other shit, the more I less actually realize, like, wow, I don't know shit. This is all a game. This is a very scary game that the people in charge driving this bus are running. Might as well, whatever Danny DeVito said. Like,
can I offer you an egg in these trying times? Like,
no. He's like, I only got a few years left in this world. I'm gonna get real weird with it, like that. Like that's what you got.
Get real weird with it.
Like,
I mean, you gotta go out with the bang.
You never know, bro. You got to get weird with it. Norm passing away at 62. 62 is not that old, dude. If you really think about it, if the life expectancy is 80, you get shorted by 20 years. Weird.
Yeah.
I've got to step away for a moment, but bro, so saw a report saying that funnier comedians die younger. Like Yale has done a study on it, and typically funnier people die younger.
Is it because they're like they've lived more life tragedies? Because like comedy is
probably
tragedy.
Just like
and there's just so much stress and PTSD.
There's also like, how many factors do you want to look at that? Is it just a correlation? Like, you know what I mean? Like more often than not, trying to think of a horrible, you can draw a correlation with anything is what I'm saying. Like,
were they all drug
everyone
users?
Who died.
Were they all alcoholics?
No, not that. I'm saying like, you're saying like, oh, funny comedians die younger. Does that mean older comedians aren't as funny? Like, what are we actually saying here? Like, dude, I'm so blanking right now. I don't know. Oh, people who own dogs are typically happier. It's like, okay, well, like, what, 70% of people own dogs? You can draw that comparison to anything. You could also say, like, people who own dogs are more likely to be bisexual. Okay. There's, like, again, 60% of people own dogs. You can draw a correlation with anything. Who cares? Like, what are you actually saying here? And then, again, like, how are you judging funnier? How are you judging? You have to judge that by a popularity contest. You know what I mean? Like, cool, I can do that too. To what degree do you want to draw this comparison?
Like, for some reason that made me think of I don't know if y'all recognize this like line, but it was like from some comedy. For some reason, I want to say like bench warmers or something, but like this like older businessman was like meeting up with like an old friend, and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" He's like, "Oh, good. My son's a bisexual." And he's like, "All right." And like they just keep walking, and the scene keeps playing, and I was like, "That was fucking hilarious."
Dude,
but like,
yeah, I literally think that's Benchwarmers.
Is it really?
I think it is.
Like, okay.
It's one of those older movies that's hilarious where they throw in like, it's like any of the like old like God, why can I not think of his name? The fat guy down by the river.
Oh, Chris Farley. Right?
Yes, like any of those movies, dude. They're like, you'll watch them and then you'll see some really like joke that's just a quick one-liner that you don't think that much about in the moment, and you're like, dude, that was great.
Okay, that's the other thing I was gonna say. Now I remember with the young comedians dying. this is also the same theory of like young musicians or like
Oh.
anybody who's young that dies. Do you see them have their bad part? Like, you know, because eventually some talented people have a slump and then it taints their legacy and they kind of pick it back up. You know what I mean? So like if they die while it's preserved.
That's just it.
Like,
They never said, they
too.
never assigned a reason as to why. They were just like, hey, this is something we've noticed.
Yeah, exactly. So exactly. Like that's because that's my theory on musicians too. Like I don't want to discredit that they did make really good music before they passed, but we didn't see them have their slump. We didn't see them do how well they could do it either. You're judging it perfectly encapsulated, frozen in time. So it's hard to say. It's always hard to say. Like, you know, the best musicians die young. Like, yeah, probably, maybe, but
yeah,
preserves their legacy, bro.
Well, bros,
I mean, they didn't have to live there. You know, no.
Y'all got anything else, or y'all good? All right.
No.
So this has been Nobody Named Kevin podcast, episode 31. Like, comment, and
31.
subscribe, and thank you for listening.
Thank you.